Hello, and welcome to episode 42 of My Dog Will Eat My Face. In this episode, I'm going to discuss what has been going on recently in my life and the impact that has had on myself and, others that I know and love and care for me, and I care for them. It is not in any way, shape, or form good news. But I feel obligated to some extent to share this as it appears to be a major step that I have taken in the course of this disease of heart failure. So, as my listeners know, I do live alone. And so you need to combine that in the background sort of as I share these stories, and that I don't have any form really of assistance at home to help me manage things and to take care of myself in some cases as these changes occur. There are, in fact, what I want to say, 2 to 3 major days I'm going to cover sequentially, and those days will illustrate how bad I think that heart failure can get. And fortunately, I know in my heart of hearts, and I'm sure any doctor listening to this would know, that what I'm about to share is not the worst case scenario, and that they've seen much, much worse. My only point here is that for me, for my life, from my perspective, the changes that have occurred recently are truly dire. They're also extremely humiliating. You'll note that in previous podcasts, I've left out certain pieces of information because I would frankly be exceptionally embarrassed by discussing them. Well, with that said, I can't really tell the story of these 2 to 3 days without discussing matters that I find very embarrassing, to put it lightly. Things that I find absolutely, frankly, disgusting. And are not things that I would ever share in any other context. So I'll share here with the world what I choose to not share with a random bank teller. Let's put it that way. Or somebody I might know. But only just a little bit. I might know somebody who works at a bank teller, and I'm too embarrassed to tell them this story, but I'm going to tell the world the story going forward as I refer to about 3 days worth that hit me and that were complete and total misery. And I mean that sincerely. There were 3 days in a row In fact, I'm recording this on the third day, so it might be much more to come. I don't know. But at least I know there's been at least 3 days that have been very alarming, very scary, very embarrassing, very indicative of a worsening condition, to put things lightly. So, with that said, I will start with my description of the first day of when everything seemed to fall apart in my life. So to begin with day one, it honestly started just like any other day of my life recently, and that the sun was shining. I was trying to keep myself entertained. There was nothing that was any sort of a big deal going on in my life, well, except for the whole slowly dying thing. Minus that little detail. Everything else was pretty pleasant, and I didn't have any issues with the day at all. It was pretty nice, and it had no indication whatsoever that it would turn into a complete disaster within a matter of hours. So you see, I was actually with my dog, and we decided to have a nap together, which we often do. He's a good little sleeping partner. He's a very good boy. And so we decided, hey, let's take a nap. And he thought, yeah, that's a good idea. So we curled up in our bed and took a nice, pleasant nap. So up to this point, everything's grand. Everything's perfect. There's really no deviation at this point from life's norms and what you would otherwise expect in my life. Until I woke up. And that's because when I woke up, I was absolutely mortified. And I'm still mortified. But I had noticed that I had clearly, in my sleep with my dog, had a moment of incontinence and wet the bed. So that was quite embarrassing and disgusting, because obviously with that you also have to wash all that material. Take it off, wash it, put it back on again. So that was not good for me. Excuse the long pauses. It's because I'm holding back crying, because this actually affects me a lot. And I can't believe I just shared that with the world. that I had at my ripe age in the 40s peed the bed. So, though, I diligently get up, do what I have to do, that is, take off all the sheets, all the linens, march it to the not bathroom, but to the utility room that I have, where I can wash them and dry them. So, I wash them and dry them. This doesn't get done until probably late at night. And much to my shock, sorry, you have to pardon me again, all the support networks that I had, my friends, my family, everyone was very supportive and understanding. And I had called actually my nurses for my hospice team and shared this with them, saying this is obviously a new event. I've never wet the bed. What is going on? And they just said it is part of the progression of this disease, which is a phrase they seem to say about everything. I feel like I can ask them, why does my butt itch? It's because of a progression of this disease. Oh, why is the sky blue? It's because of the progression of this disease. You get the point. I'm sure that's not the case, but I feel like that's like their default setting answer. Just like robotically answering nonsense. But anyway, I cleaned up the mess, did all the laundry, remade the beds. So come that evening, everything was fine. The bed was clean, nice and soft, which is always great. So that was a good side effect. At least I washed my sheets. On the plus side, got to feel really soft fabrics. And so, once bedtime came around, I crawled myself into bed, like everyone else does. Then, what happened, honestly, is a little hazy. Because I was asleep, sound asleep, and then I woke up at some point in the night with a sudden urge that was very urgent that I had to use the restroom again. The pressure to go was intense. So, sat up in bed, and rather than try to go to the bathroom, I have these urinals that they have, these little handheld urinals that you see in hospitals. If you've ever been in the hospital and they say pee in this, and it's like a urinal, plastic mug, kind of tall mug with a big plastic handle, and they tell you to pee in that. If you've ever been in the hospital and you're a man, I should add, you've been told to pee, you know what I'm talking about. So I happen to have these around the house because that way I don't have to run to the bathroom. Frankly, it's a lot easier just to pee right there in the same room and not have to run all over the place. So I went ahead and tried to get access to one of the urinals that I had nearby, but unfortunately it was too late, because dumb me didn't put the urinal in the bedroom. I left it in the bathroom, which is really helpful. If you think about it, the whole point of the urinal was to save time going to the bathroom. I wouldn't have to go all the way to the bathroom. So why on earth was I leaving it in the bathroom? That's the least place you need it, because there's a whole toilet there waiting for you. But anyway, I started to get out of bed, and then the urge became severe. Absolutely severe, to where I had to clutch myself. You know what I mean. Guys know what I mean, where you have to go so bad. Look back in middle school or something. Probably the last time you did it. At least for me it is. Where you have to go so bad, you reach down and you just grip it and just do everything you can to keep the pee inside. And that works as far as the bedroom door, but then it just fails altogether. And a blasting of urine comes pouring out all the way in the hallway, and then all the way into the bedroom before I got to the toilet. So finally, after leaving a huge pee puddle along my way, I got to the toilet, and I was standing there doing my business, and I was looking down. Now, if you're a female, maybe you don't know this, but men usually look down. Sometimes they look straight forward, but sometimes they look down when they're peeing in like a normal toilet, because they just want to make sure they're not missing, or to make sure their aim is correct. So, since I was looking down, my glasses, not my glasses, my cannula fell off. My nasal cannula fell off and plopped right there in the toilet filled with pee. So I then had to trudge through these puddles of urine that I had left in the bathroom and then in the hallway, and then drag it into the master bedroom and into the master closet, trying to find a new cannula to match, because there was no way on God's green earth I was going to wear that old one that just plopped in a big puddle of urine in the toilet. It took a while. I started to fade, actually. I did try to use my emergency tank. It wasn't that helpful, just because I was freaking out so much, I think. But eventually, when I was about to give up, I looked on this little weird plastic bag, and lo and behold, there were the cannulas. So, switched it out for a fresh cannula right there, and then finally I could get oxygen again. So that was my disaster of the first night of this weekend, first day and night of this last weekend. It was truly just awful. Just absolutely awful. But Poor me didn't realize that that was not going to be the end of it. More was yet to come. So, one of the things that I did was I notified my hospice team as to what was going on. And of course, I don't joke here when I did hear that they said this is part of the process of dying. You start to lose control of your bodily functions. So isn't that fun? Anyway, their solution was that, hey, this isn't any big deal. All we have to do is make you wear these. And out come the diapers for adults. No joke. I was just besides myself. I was flabbergasted that I am at a role now in my life to where providers feel convinced that I should be on just home diapers. That part is really messed up. But I guess that was the way they could only come up with a solution. But I wasn't very good at implementing the solution. To be blunt, I would try to go to the bathroom in a toilet or in a urinal when I was near one and not go just in my pants in the I just called it something. What do you call it? Oh God, you can tell my brain's just shot. Diaper. Thank you. I was really opposed to just standing there and letting it all go. To me, that was just a disgusting idea. So if I had to go, I was pretty well dedicated. I would go to not a commode, actually, to a urinal or a toilet, regular residential toilet. That was my goal. And to me, the only viable option. But that didn't quite work out. I don't think I ever got the better counter job because I didn't have a DL at the time. So every time I tried to go in a toilet or in a urinal, to be blunt, pee would just fly everywhere. It was not well controlled. It just, I'm not sure why. Something about the angle, maybe the pressure from the fabric pushing up on it. I don't know what. But that never worked out well. So, I think that's all I have to say with respect to suicides gone bad. Of course, I've not even touched on gunshots, gunshots gone bad. Oh my gosh. That could be just unbelievable. Losing your vision, your mouth, your sense of smell, because you wanted to kill yourself, and then here you are 40 years later still going. Yeah. So that was the second day. It doesn't sound as bad as the first, true. That's very true. It doesn't sound as bad. But it was more of a continuation of just the inability to control myself. And that really fundamentally is the issue here. Losing control of myself. I cannot think of a worst case scenario. So as I look back at my various podcasts before, I see that I said nothing that would prepare myself for loss of control, as I have detailed here. And what's curious to me is this whole event is coupled with literally full body pain. It's the sort of pain you might expect after you've done a long workout. And that is the pain I'm feeling throughout every inch of my body. I have no earthly idea why. I'm pretty sure I didn't sleepwalk to the gym and do some reps in the middle of the night. So that's a mystery to me as to why it seems like I'm facing so many physical issues at once. One, I'm having the incontinence issues. Let's call it for what it is. That's what it is. It's incontinence. Two, I've got the full body pain. Three, I've also been suffering heavily from foggy ideas and general, hate to repeat a word, a general fog, just completely absorbing my mental state to where I forget things, I don't know things, and it just feels like I am totally disconnected from my memories. And that is a terrible feeling. So, I don't know why everything's suddenly happening at the exact same time. If there's any good doctors out there that would let me know, please do. I've even consulted with my hospice team, and they don't give an answer. So, it's quite alarming to me. And it's indicative throughout this podcast. Whenever you hear those long pauses, that's me trying to find my thought. And also to stave off crying. It's one or the other. Either way, it's not good. So, I don't know what's going on with my body. I know I am physically dying. I did not expect a massive flip in my physical well-being so rapidly, because that's what I'm getting from hospice, essentially, is that I'm dying, and that sucks. And you're going to feel terrible until you're dead, probably. So, I guess that's how it is right now. And there's absolutely nothing I can do about it except wait and watch. We'll see what happens. As I wrap things up, I don't want to necessarily be all doom and gloom, but it seems that's just the way fate has cut it for this couple of weeks. The truth of the matter is that my ability to control my own urination is pretty much out the window. And hospice has been so kind to provide me with diapers to wear due to my incontinence, which they say is a classic sign of the progression of the disease. On top of that, I've got this full body pain I've already complained about that no one can really seem to credit to anyone or anything. I just woke up that way to where I felt absolutely miserable. So, don't want to ruin anyone else's day or pick up too much time today. So, with that, I just want to say thank you to all my listeners. Dearly, I do thank you from the bottom of my heart to listen to my incessant rambling, which frequently does not make much sense. But I do appreciate it. It's nice to know that your voice can be out there and can be heard. And that really means a lot to me. Now, if you're really cool, you can go to patreon.com/mydogwilleatmyface and drop a little shekel for this program so you can become a member and get the behind-the-scene pictures, among other behind-the-scene content. But if that's too much for you, please follow. Please follow the podcast, and please turn on notifications. Otherwise, you won't know when the next podcast might come out. I deeply, sincerely apologize for the long breaks and long pauses and the overall malaise in the tone of this week's podcast, but it is truly how I feel. I feel completely burned out and knocked down and exhausted and frankly in pain. I do fear this is the end of times for me. I think it's just a matter of a little bit of maybe a few weeks. I don't know. I can just feel my body deteriorating and losing its ability to manage itself. So please click on the reminder for future podcasts. They might be very interesting and very important, because you never know, it might be the last one, and you don't want to miss that. So, that being said, I love you guys. I'm so grateful for all your listenership. I am in awe that I am so lucky to have listenership from you. And I do not take it for granted. So I definitely extend to you a deep thank you. And feel free to share this podcast with your friends or anyone else who might be an acquaintance. I'm not shy. I think you figured out by now, I'm not shy. But with all that said, I think for this week, it's time to say goodbye. And for now, it's going to be ciao for now.